Ladies and gentlemen, and gentlemanly ladies, happy Pride. On this week's On the Rocks, it's our Pride Kickoff with our chat with LGBTQ travel expert and host of the GAYCATION travel show, Ravi Roth, with filmmaker and artist Timo Reese, with my guest co-host, actor Michael Vega, and me, your favorite host with the sassy most. Raise a glass and let the drinks begin.
And most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Lord have mercy, buns and bows and pantyhose. On the Rocks podcast, a place where we're too glam to give a damn. Okay, so it's Pride Month, so all of the ads have gone out, and everybody's like, Happy Pride. Some of the corporations are doing Happy Pride, and, you know, some of the straights are like, whoa, what? It's like, girl, call your husband. Where is he? But I have to say, we are supposed to, like, this is our first Pride that we can actually be together. We're under a decent administration. Like, let's not fight amongst ourselves. So people are posting the Pride flag, and people are saying, that's not the original Pride flag. Here's the history of the original Pride flag. You can't just add colors. You can't just do that. I hate change more than the rest. I'm like, how many letters are we adding now? Like, but you know what? We're still moving forward, so who cares, you know? My body started out with one chin, and I've added a few other chins. Just like the rainbow flag, we grow and evolve, and we're still fabulous, so stop fighting. The gayest news to come out, by the way, is Timothée Chalamet from Who Calls You By Name is going to be he's going to be in a musical version of Willy Wonka. It's a prequel, and he's going to be singing. It's a musical. He's singing and dancing. I mean, if you can't get gayer than that, I mean, come on. Speaking of gay, I am so proud. I've been working for this last month, hours and hours and hours. Metro Source Magazine, which I'm the lead writer for, released our Pride cover today. My interviews with Carson Kressley, Gigi Gorgeous, Michael Cimino from Love Victor, Paul Rudnick, the screenwriter, Quentin Perrone, the first black male cheerleader, making history. We have Nicholas Brown from the History Channel, Lori Jean from the LA LGBT Center, David Cooley from the Abbey. It is diversity, and I'm so proud of this issue. I know sometimes there's stuff that's put out that says Happy Pride, and it's like, girl, they released an album like 5 years ago. That doesn't mean that they're an activist, but I'm very proud of this issue. So go to your newsstands that are around the nation, or go to metrosource.com. Okay, enough about me, but like me on Instagram and Twitter at On The Rocks On Air, and on Facebook, On The Rocks Radio Show. Send me an email, book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care. I will show up. Info at ontherocksradioshow.com. The show is presented by Straw Hut Media. You can watch and or listen to our now almost 250 episodes at ontherocksradioshow.com for free. Hello to our listeners around the nation on every major podcasting platform, on Facebook Watch, and of course we're on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV. On the outat.tv app, share, subscribe, leave a comment, leave your number. I'm single and ready to mingle. Kurt, do you have a pun for us today? You're so punny.
I always have a pun for you.
Make it snappy.
What kind of shoes do frogs wear?
Frog legs.
Open-toed.
Oh my God, you guys, that is so bad. That is awful.
He played a fake laugh sound effect, but I thought that was genuinely funny.
Okay, but I mean,
I would have actually laughed. I just wasn't on camera.
This is what happens when you get two nerds like in the same room. They just love each other's puns. The good news is, well, it's good and bad. It's the same news. Kurt's only with us for the next few weeks. Kurt has been with me since day one.
Yes.
So his puns are a thing of the past.
Well,
yay for
they'll
some.
always be a part of your show.
Yes.
In one form or another.
You'll be back.
Yes.
You'll be back. You're going to come back and guest co-host when we talk about nerds in mother's basements.
Hey, new guy, we're going to need some riddles.
Yeah. Riddles.
Riddle me this.
Riddles, yeah. But Kurt's pun is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, JustFor.Fans. You'll have more fun over at JustFor.Fans than you will listening to Kurt's puns, that's for sure. Go to JustFor.Fans, set up your account, and, we're all still a little lonely during COVID. This is your safe way to enjoy the company of anybody. And they give back to the community. Okay, let me welcome my guest co-host today, no stranger to On the Rocks or penicillin, Mr. Michael Vega, originally from NYC, attended Trenton State College, where he received his BA in theater and communications. He began his acting career after moving to San Francisco, continued his studies at ACT, went on to perform in over 30 productions to critical praise from the SF Chronicle and Variety. He has appeared in several commercials and films and is also a well-known personality in the LGBTQ nightlife in West Hollywood. Please welcome our Latino quota for Pride Month, Michael Vega. Hello.
Hey.
Okay, so things are clearly coming back. You know, I've been out and about. I had my first live event. You filmed something, and you're going back to work in the nightlife.
I did.
So how do you feel about going back to work?
There's a little trepidation. I mean, I literally haven't been around crowds of people in a year and a half, and thankfully I know most of the people already, so it isn't, a strange environment. But it's going to be interesting. And what I don't want to keep answering, and inevitably, is, so how was your lockdown? What vaccine did you get? How was your
I mean, I do I think what COVID should have taught us is to eradicate small talk. I can't even do it in my Uber. I can't even do it with my mom. I hate it. It's like, how are you? Bitch, do you really want to know how I am? Because here's all my depression issues. Like, here's what's really going on. We don't really care. Actually, it's not that we don't care, but you don't have time to sit there and be like, here's the honest truth about how I'm doing.
Well, yeah, and do you really want to hear it? Do you want me to go on,
Nobody does. I don't even want to hear it for myself.
My job got closed down. I was a little poor, and, it was
Ate
tough.
too much?
And,
yeah.
Yeah, and I got back fat, and,
Well, I got back fat, and then I got back fat.
Well,
Baby got back fat. Ooh, that's a new single. Ooh, girl. Of course, it's like 20 years too late. Now, but what do you think nightlife is going to look like? So I was in Palm Springs this last week. It was packed to the gills.
Now, are they still obeying, or I don't know what the protocols are. They're packed to the gills. Okay, so there's no protocol.
I mean, I've been double vaxxed for I don't know how many months because I was part of a
Honey,
special.
that wasn't a vaccine.
Let's try it out on you. Yeah, I was part of that group.
That might have been a shot, but it wasn't a vaccine.
So, I don't have this trepidation that I'm so scared about being in a crowd without masks.
Yeah.
But for those that haven't gotten vaxxed, you in danger, girl. Because things were packed. What I thought was going to happen is that everybody was going to be super nice, like, waiting in line for a drink. Oh, you first, or can I buy you a drink?
Oh,
People
no.
were not. They were in their cliques, and they were kind of not friendly, especially like the older crowd with us young ones. And I'm using young ones, but in Palm Springs, I was young. It was like, no. People were just not as friendly as I thought.
Here's what's going to be the telltale time is the June 15th, when everything opens up, ideally, because I've been in West Hollywood a few times over the past several months, and they're still obeying protocols. There's just distancing.
Oh, yeah, you're ready to go back.
More wine.
What do you have, sir?
You want me to work? But once everything opens up, we need to see what that looks like. I'm a little nervous about that.
Well, what's also a point to consider is, we've been working from home. Here at the show, we've been doing double duty with magazine stuff, and you've been working with me. So,
yeah.
But there's other people that have 9-to-5 jobs, or they're going to have to start doing 8-hour shifts at a bar, and they've been at home setting their own time, eating their own food when they want to, watching whatever TV when they want to, binge watching something. So to be told, hey, you have to work these hours again, and then do customer service on top of that.
I mean, I don't really mind. I mean, first and
you're
foremost,
nice.
Aw.
I mean, that is a rarity.
You don't know how hard it was for him to say that.
Yes.
But I mean, for me, I'm thankful to be doing it. But this past year, I was able to say yes to a lot of stuff when it comes to my acting side of my
That is
career,
true.
because I had the
Online, digital
time,
stuff?
and I wasn't thinking, well, no, I have a shift tomorrow, and I have this, and I have that, and it took that element away, and I had to kind of go forward with that to a certain degree, because I'm a woman of certain years, and I probably don't want to be bartending many more, but yeah,
I think that's a really good point, though. I think we've all said yes to projects that we either didn't have time for or necessarily was not in our skill set. I think a number of us, when I talked to Ravi, launching a show right after COVID, having to develop kind of the tech side of entertainment has been a new experience. And so, yeah, maybe we're ready to...
Yeah, and as I told you, the project I did most recently, there probably would have been no way I would have been able to say yes to that. And it probably wouldn't have come to me. That door probably wouldn't have opened if I was just mired with, I got to work 5 nights a week, and I went to bed at 4:30 a.m. and I might have done a few shots, and
Let's show a quick picture of, this is your glamour shot from your glamorous return to acting from COVID. It's you in a chair with like a fisherman's hat.
Where?
Kurt, can we just play this picture? Michael's like, oh, I'm back in a set, and it's for a music video. And I'm like, oh, no, that's not it,
well,
Kurt.
I mean-
Kurt, it's in a desert. Oh, my God, Kurt. You're fired, Kurt. Oh, well, he's leaving anyway.
Oh, no.
Anyway, it's
The
there
podcast
somewhere.
audience is going to be so
that's
confused.
me.
He's in a desert, Kurt. I don't know
Mickey's.
how if you've never seen a desert before.
I'm enjoying the slideshow.
I
I know I
know.
haven't.
No, keep
I
it
haven't
going.
been
I like
introduced
looking
yet,
at
so I
myself.
can't talk.
Just head to his
but-
Just for Fans. You'll see a different side. That's Anne Heche. That's not a desert.
What's up, girl?
Jesus Christ,
She
Kurt.
was not there, definitely. I remember
Well, she
the
could have been.
cast.
She's probably lost again. After she did this show, she was like, I don't know where I am anymore.
I did see
Anyway.
a coyote run by, and I wasn't sure if it might,
Well, I'm not going to make
kidding.
We
And-
love Anne Heche. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are talking to Ravi Roth, who is the traveler of the world, not just for our community, but for a voice for many different communities. We're going to talk to him when we come back after this break.
And we're going to find it.
Okay, and we're back. Ravi Roth has trekked the globe to 32 countries, fearlessly diving into queer culture as a vlogger, YouTuber, speaker, travel writer, and influencer, and Grindr favorite, by the way. Ravi has been branded as an expert in the queer travel community with his travel series, Ravi Round the World. And it's not around the world, it's Ravi Round the World, bitch. Like, it just rolls right off the tongue. His articles have been published in Queer Tea, Gay Cities, Outbuzz, The Advocate, Outclick, and Unicorn Booty. He has been named top gay travel Instagrammer in the world to follow by Unicorn Booty, nominated for Best Insta Traveler of 2019 by Gay Cities, and recognized as People We Love in 2019 by Metrosource Magazine. He's been nominated as Best Gay Travel Influencer by GayTravel.com, and he is the host of the GAYCATION Travel Show, which just premiered. As a sought-after lecturer on queer travel, he's been a featured speaker at the NY Times Travel Show, LGBTQ Week, and Google. As an actor, by the way, we're going to talk about this. He was on the closing company of Altar Boys, the Broadway tours of Irving Berlin's White Christmas and Seussical, and also appeared in the world premiere of A Letter to Harvey Milk. Let's take a look at Ravi in action, and then we are speaking to him. Kurt, take it away. This is from GAYCATION Travel Show.
For our flight this evening, as soon as we're here. Thank you, and again, welcome aboard.
I'm Ravi Roth, and I'm your host of the GAYCATION Travel Show. I have trekked across the globe, having visited over 30 countries, while capturing and discovering the local queer culture everywhere I've been. However, like most of you, I haven't been anywhere in the last 6 months. Now it's time for a new adventure. Join me and other queer travelers as we take you on an exploration of our world from the safety and comfort of your couch. What a truly unique and wild time it is to be alive. This coronavirus pandemic might have put a pause on our travel plans, but it can't stop us from dreaming. I know a lot of us are a bit uncertain and maybe a little scared of the future, but one thing I know for sure is that the queer community is always the first to pave the way for everyone else to travel. After every crisis that has impacted tourism, our community has always been there to lead the way, and we're doing it again now. Every week on the GAYCATION Travel Show, we're going to transport you to a new destination post-coronavirus, highlighting queer history, where to stay, where to play, where to eat, how to pack, how to prepare, and most importantly, how to travel safely. We're going to be telling the stories of destinations who are adapting and revamping their tourism procedures as a result of the huge economic impact of queer tourism, while also getting tips and insights from our fabulous local queer guest correspondents. You might be sitting there asking, why in 2020 do we need the GAYCATION Travel Show? Shouldn't all travel be the same? I mean, the answer is yes. All travel should be the same. However, there are currently 72 countries where homosexuality is still illegal. By promoting the economic impact of local tourism, we could change hearts and minds about inclusive travel.
That is just a little taste of what you are going to get from the GAYCATION Travel Show with Mr. Ravi Roth. Ravi, here from NYC, welcome to the show.
What's up?
What's up, girl? NYC in the house.
Yeah.
Do you see how
How's
butch
it
I can
going?
get? That was me being butch, by the way.
Oh no.
Okay, Ravi, what I love about doing research is, so I learned that as a kid, your family would take you to a gay beach, and they didn't even know it was a gay beach. Like, what?
Which
Wait, I
one?
love that you know. First of all, I love that you know that.
Was it Gunnison?
No. Oh my God, can you imagine? No, my family, we would all go to Rehoboth every year when I was like 4 until 13, 14. I didn't know back then, like I didn't know. But oh my God, we went to the gay beach. Like that's where our family went every summer.
That's insane, especially like until 14 or 15. That's when you're kind of like, oh, hello, daddy. What we're doing the show on this month for Pride Month is we're sharing our coming out stories. Do you mind sharing your coming out story with us?
Oh my God. Okay. So I dated girls in high school.
Didn't we all?
My senior year of high school, I did Les Mis. And I was dating Fontaine. And the guy playing Jean Valjean, by the way, I was Enjolras, leader of the barricades.
Yes, you were.
So the guy playing Jean Valjean, every day during lunch, we would hook up in my dorm.
Oh my God. He was like, God on, hi!
But at the summer camp. And then Fontaine never knew, but then Fontaine and I ended up breaking up. And then the whole camp heard that I was gay. And this was before the cell phone. Mm-hmm. So people would call my landline at home being like, I heard this thing happen. And I was going to the Boston Conservatory. So I knew that when I was in musical theater school, I was going to go there saying I was straight because that's what I knew. Mm-hmm. Eventually, I came out to people at school, but coming out to my family is a fucking story. Yep. So it's the first day of Christmas break, my freshman year of high school or of college. And we're going, my mom, my dad, my sister, and I are going to see my brother Yogi play in a football bowl game in Vegas. So we get on the plane, and dad's against the window, mom's in the middle, I'm next to mom, and my sister's on the aisle. And dad falls asleep. The plane takes off 10 minutes into the air. My mom looks at me and says, I can't wait to get to Vegas and see who checks you out, guys or girls. And I looked at my sister. She knew. My sister knew. I told her during Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. But I looked at my sister. We started laughing. My mom said, what? What is it? And she's like, just tell me. So I kind of figured, like she said that I reminded her of like Jack and Will Grace. Like she told my sister that. So I'm like, okay, let's just have some idea.
Yeah. I mean, hello.
I don't know what you mean. So I said, okay, I'm gay. And she said, what? And then my dad woke up, and then the whole plane heard the conversation. It wasn't a conversation. It was them being like, it was them basically saying the worst things you can possibly say for not knowing that your child is gay on an airplane.
Was it one of those movie moments where everybody gets silent?
Yeah, it sounds like a movie moment.
And it was like, you can't get off the plane until you tell me it's a phase. No, they're amazing now, and like totally come around. But
oh my God.
Yeah. I wrote a one-man show about that one. So that's my coming out story. And then we got to Vegas and I kind of couldn't talk about it. And because we didn't want to tell Yogi, my brother, because we didn't want to ruin his football game. And then
it's full of men, by the way, too. It's like, it's all men here.
So yeah, my coming out story is pretty insane. But then, the parents totally came around and, had a great time after that, like 6 months of adjustment, but that's my coming out story for you.
But you know what I love about it is it's a big story, and yes, it's full of comedy, but there's also pathos in there. That's what I get from watching your show. This is what I get from watching your videos is, yes, there's this big comedy energy, but everything that you do comes from a very sincere place. And we know that there's travel shows out there. It's like, oh my God, they didn't really eat that, or they don't even want to go there again. Or it's just like, here's Club Med. It's like, no, I want to know like the reality. And this is what I love about you. But what I also love about your journey is I come from a musical theater background as well, did the shows, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm a professional podcaster and journalist. It's like, what the hell? We're still performing in a way, because you hosting the show, it's a different type of performance, but it's definitely performing. But I want to hear about that transition from, okay, like actor, now we're going to go into being a travel expert and kind of being the on-camera personality from that, doing my videos. It's a whole different part of entertainment. It takes a whole different skill set. Can you tell us about that transition?
Yeah. So when I did Altar Boys, as you mentioned, and that show was very like performative. It was very like we were, rock stars on the stage. So it's super. I've always been a super extroverted person, And once that show ended, it was kind of hard for me to get another gig. You know, having it be such like a breaking the fourth wall type of show, like going in for like a traditional like Rodgers and Hammerstein just wasn't really working out so well for me.
But you have the kerchief.
I do. Lori? Lori? So I actually I never meant to get into this. I went on a trip with my ex-boyfriend who I proposed to at the time. I left the country for the first time ever, and we went to London, Paris, Barcelona, which is like, you know, a basic but a good way to get your feet wet and traveling. And my brother Yogi, who's a big travel guru, said that I should journal. No, I don't journal. I mean, do you journal?
No. I don't even see a therapist, and I should.
Girl, 2 a week here. So he instead of journaling, he was like, you should videotape. Now, I videotaped, but it was like the vertical videotape. And I was in these cities being like basically an idiot abroad. No format, no idea what I was doing, no idea what I was talking about, but it was kind of funny. And I got back from this trip and I showed my talent manager, who's Jeremy Katz. He saw the video and he's like, you could be a travel host. This is really fun. And I said, I know nothing about traveling. And while I'm in his office showing him these videos, my life's insane. So I get an invite to go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And it was to go the next day, taking a private jet. And I was like, oh my God, I can film like this. There'll be a bunch of celebrities. It'll be amazing. I can get great content and we can put it all together for a reel. Which we did. And it kind of bombed, but it got me another trip. And then I kind of BS'd my way into this industry. You know, I worked my ass off, but I didn't know how to vlog or tell stories or how to be a YouTuber or how to edit. I mean, that's a whole game in itself.
Oh, girl. You need a Xanax before, if you need a Xanax, you need like a retreat before you can sit and edit. It's too much.
It's a lot, yeah. So anyway, I kind of taught myself the whole game and went to a bunch of conferences, talked myself up, you know, schmoozed, BS my way into a lot of things, and then learned how to do it. I got connected with this woman named Anna Garwood from the Travel Channel. She was the head of development at the time. Didn't work out. But she took me under her wing and she's like, I'm a lesbian. I'm going to take you under my wing. I'm going to show you what's up. Because you're good, but you're a mess. And I was a hot mess. And, you know, still part of me is like, I'm a little raw, but like in a way that's still really captivating now. And I learned how to, you know, make a format. And then during COVID, I got the GAYCATION travel show because they were hiring, and I became the host of that, and that's where we are today.
But it is interesting to know, Michael, you've been through that kind of shift too, where we as actors, it's like we know what we want from a career. We want to be a film actor, we want to be a stage actor, but sometimes we have to adapt and do certain things. And I think there are some actors from our friend circle, from the industry, like, I'm an actor and I'm only going to do this. And I think that's so limiting because you never know where your career is going to take off.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, when I came to LA from the Bay Area where I did a lot of theater, and you can't really support yourself. You can't eat and put a roof over your head doing, a certain theater. But it was my love and I made it work. But you know, this idea that I'm just going to be an actor, you're praying and hoping that big thing, that thing's going to also happen. Yes, it can happen. But I think I think a lot of people come to LA with the idea in their head that they're going to be walking down the street and, oh my God, you know, you're going to be a star. We're going to make you a star.
Or they're going to book something after their first audition and never have to audition.
Yeah, again. You have to get used to hearing no, and I can keep going.
Be a jack of all trades at this point.
I'm sorry, was that traumatizing? Because we all go through that. It's you know, and I don't think a lot of people are prepared for it, to hear the no, and that hurts, and they take it personally. And
it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you have to learn that, no, it's not about me necessarily, and just keep going.
What
I wish though that like we were taught in our conservatories or wherever we
yes, Boston Conservatory. Yes,
I got out of college thinking I was going to get a 3-picture deal. You know,
right?
Like
you
just
I was going to get out and I was going to get on Broadway. But I wish that they taught us like you should probably have another skill that you're good at,
or say
and
yes.
Maybe we should teach that to you, or at least tell you about it. I mean, I was, you know, the Boston Conservatory was like such a cutthroat and like really intense school, but it got me so ready for rejection. Like I'm like, give it to me, rejection.
Yeah,
I'm
you
ready
have to
for
develop
you.
that thick skin.
But having to pivot, I mean, I never knew I was going to pivot into hosting. I mean, and hosting a gay travel show is like going from one super niche market that you can't really get work to another one that's just the same. But I know I'm at the top of the game in the gay travel market.
Yes.
And I know I'm a good actor and a great singer, but I'm not giving you like Aaron Tveit, you know, I'm not giving you that right now. So I might as well go where it's warm. And I think we all have to figure out how to do that. Like, I hate the whole, like, you got to pivot, but you got to figure out like, what are you good at and what makes you feel good at the end of the day? Cause like going and auditioning for people and being like, thank you. How fulfilling is that?
Well, and I have to tell you, Ravi, you know, I love being on the stage, and obviously when the audience is clapping and this and that, but like we're owning our own brand. We are the personality. We are the show every night or every minute. And to me, that's been a whole other side of rewarding, because I'm not having to play a part. I'm not having to butch it up for auditions. I'm just like, just me. And I did get a 3-picture deal, by the way, when I came to LA. It was my mugshot. My mugshot at Beverly Hills Police. Thank you very much.
Those were the 3 pictures.
Those were the 3-picture front time, and I was like sassy, like Can I get a copy of this, Ravi? What I want to know, you know, like I said, we really get to see the real personality. We get to see a real, and I'm not. This is going to sound weird, but you are an everyday gay traveler, meaning you're not like, you know, an Andrew Christian model that can't talk but looks pretty good. Do you know what I mean?
Burn on Andrew Christian as a
No,
brand.
he's one of our friends. In fact, he's on in 2 weeks. No, he's one of my friends. But do you know what I mean? It's like you are.
He's all over my face right now.
Yeah, well, that is true. Skincare. But do you know, like you are the actual gay man who is traveling. I see myself taking the trips with you, which is so great, because I'm tired of seeing like the Mario Lopez airbrushed and staying at a 5-star hotel. That's not a travel experience. But have you gotten any kickback from the travel community or the gay community for being more of that Anthony Bourdain energy, where it's kind of gritty and it's like, I'm here, rather than like the pretty, you know, World's Gym product?
Are you saying he's not pretty?
No. That's why I was going to say it is going to come across weird. But, you know, just to talk in generalizations that are quick to get. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think that there's, you know, a lot of people in the gay travel world that are giving you like yada 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 yada, and have the followers and have like and have that thing going on.
But you have that thing going on, and you have those followers. You know what I mean?
I have that thing going on, and I have those followers, but I don't have like the followers, you know, like I don't have like 100K. But I haven't gotten like flack for, you know, what I'm doing. I think that people have been super excited about it. I think, you know, when I first started off, I was a little bit of I don't want to say a joke, but I feel like I was a little bit more of, people weren't taking it seriously because I really had no idea what I was doing. I would much rather be at the parties and hanging with the cool kids than like doing the work and learning how to to do this. And you know, it's taken me years of doing this, but now I've like put in the work, and I realized like for longevity in this type of career, you have to be a storyteller. You have to have
you have to be interesting. I mean, that was the beauty of Anthony Bourdain, and he's one, you know, rest in peace, one of my gods, because you know I love travel and cuisine. But yeah, it was he gave you the experience, the raw sort of experience. This is what is, not this glossed over idea of, you know, hey girl, this is so pretty and you should go here because you're gonna be popular, and you know.
Sure.
But he was also gay, that a guy that you could hang out with, whether you were gay or straight, like whatever. He was just a great guy with a personality that you just wanted to hang out with.
Yeah. And he just told you how it was, and he gave you his opinion. He gave you an honest opinion, not what he thought sponsors wanted to hear.
Well,
and
that's what I love about you, Ravi.
Well, I think that's the thing, though. I mean, when I was in Istanbul, example, it's when the wheels really started to turn, because I care so much about queer culture, and I care so much about queer nightlife, and I care about like learning about what is it like to be safe here, and I had no idea going to Istanbul. So I went on good old Google, and I went in gay cities, and I searched Istanbul gay bars, and 7 came up. 4 of the 7 didn't exist. 2 of the 7 had the wrong address. 1 little hole in the wall inside of an apartment existed. And there was 3 people there. One spoke English, and he then like guided me and was like, "This is where you go. This is actually like a really fun thing to do tonight. By the way, like it's accepted. It's not accepted, but it's not condoned. There's this fine middle ground. Straight men kiss each other, but if you try to bring a guy into your hotel room, like they might call the police." And this was like 9 years ago. But that's what fascinated me. That why is there not something like this? Why is there not like a gay Anthony Bourdain or Samantha? I like Samantha Brown too, because she's just a little bit more my energy, but she's a little messy. But that's really what fascinated me about this culture is that, I mean, a lot of people are like, I don't want to read a blog, and I don't want to read a blog. Like, I don't want to go on a blog and be like, what are the fun things to do?
Nobody wants to read anymore. In fact,
nobody wants to read.
I
And
can't
Instagram
read.
captions enough.
I love that because I wish somebody years ago when I was still with my ex, bless his heart.
girl, was that the last Crusades? Was that your last trip with him? Like, let's find the Holy Grail.
So we went to Aruba, and I didn't know much about Aruba, but there was one gay bar, and it was in a windmill. Because it's very, yes, it's in a windmill because it's a Dutch influence there, and so we went to the gay bar and we were told by the concierge at the hotel that it was a gay bar. What we didn't know when we got there is, so we start dancing with each other, and a bartender comes over. We could not dance with each other. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. And then we sat down on sort of the perimeter where they had lawn chairs, and nothing sexual. We were sharing a chair, and I just sort of, half sat on one of his legs in not a sexual way in any way. Came over again. You can't do that here. So it was a gay bar where you couldn't really be outwardly or look gay in any way. And now this is, maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah, but things have not changed in many, many countries.
But I wish I had, there was something like, your show, your videos to say, okay, you're going to go here, but this is what you're in for.
And here's what I say, Ravi. You say people might not take you seriously because of your personality or not at the beginning. What I think, and we're talking about activism, is this is the serious part of your travel show. Yeah, we get to see you have fun and, act super fun, and we're having fun with you. But what you're doing is you're also taking the danger for us. You're going to these countries. You're spreading the message for our community where we're kind of sending you in first to be like, let's see what happens to Ravi around the world. And so I think that that's a very serious part of what you are doing for the community. And so it's not just a fun travel show. It's really, you're kind of sending our message. You're kind of like our gay ambassadors, so to speak.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's really the aim for it. I mean, the episode coming out this week, I'm so excited about it. It's Tulsa, and when I first was like, I'm going to Tulsa, I was like, oh, I'm going to Tulsa. It's gonna be great. And my dad's like, yeah, there's the Tulsa Race Massacre, and at that point, and that was in February of 2021. I did not know about the Tulsa Race Massacre. I never heard about it. I never learned about it. I was never taught it. I've never seen an article on it. And so I did a little research. My dad made me watch The Watchmen with him, which is not really research, but it talked on it. And I went to go to the city. And first of all, what lit me up the most, and I hope this comes across in the video, is that the gay people, the queer people that I met in the city, they all wanted to stay there, because I'm always like, my question is always to these small towns or these like not tier 1 cities, like, why do you live here? And everybody wants to stay there so they can make change. The people working at the museums are making change to be more inclusive, including non-binary artists, including Black, Brown, Indigenous, in the museums. And then learning about Black Wall Street, and learning about the Tulsa Race Massacre, I feel like this thing inside of me, like, it's my mission. And granted, the GAYCATION travel show is not my show, but I have a big hand in how we can tell the story. And it was so important for me to get this story out this week. It's 100 years since the Tulsa Race Massacre, where over 300 Black lives were killed. Thousands of people homeless. This story is in the courts today. There's 2 living survivors. It is not settled. It is an open case. But like that kind of thing, like, yeah, of course, I don't know if somebody that wants to travel to Tulsa is like, oh, that's exciting. I want to go to Tulsa. But the resilience of the Black community and that stayed to rebuild, and the resilience of the people that live there that want to make the change, the cis white gay men that want to help out the Black men, the trans community, the non-binary community, the gender fluid community. I mean, it's a city that made me realize, like, it doesn't matter about the queer nightlife. Like, yeah, there's 2 queer bars and they were fine. But queers exist everywhere and in every part, in every facet of that city. And so that's like what lights me up, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. Yes, go to Tulsa. You can have amazing food. You can have amazing wineries. You can have amazing, Instagram photos, and you can go get laid at a gay bar. But you can also get such rich history of the Art Deco and of like the museums that are constantly evolving and getting flack for it. There's only one equality center in the state of Oklahoma and in the surrounding 3 states. And I went there and got the whole tour and got to learn about everything that they're doing for the queer community. And that was my first stop. So anyway, that all lights me up. And that's what I aim to hopefully get to do in every city that I go to, even the mainstream ones like New York and Chicago and wherever else I go.
Well, I will tell you, Ravi, I'm going to be very honest, and this is very embarrassing for me to share, is I found out about the Tulsa Massacre on May 30th of this year, which is 2 days ago.
Wow.
The History Channel is doing a fantastic series. They're also digging up the mass grave there. And I was doing research on you at the same time, which I saw the little trailer for you in Tulsa for the massacre. So on one day I was educated by my queer community and also by the History Channel in such a way, so embarrassed that I did not know this part of American history, did not know this part of BLM history, did not know this part of minority history, which we are all minorities supporting other minorities. So I was so embarrassed. So the fact that this is part of your next show is very powerful to me. And travel is a part of education. We know, if you're not going to go to college or whatever, go travel, because that's the best education. And I think you're showing that to us. It's fun. It's not all prides around the world. It's about this education, the good and the bad, so that we can learn from it and also be allies to the community. You talking to some of these people in Greenwood, it's building bridges and it's opening conversations that we have. So I couldn't think of a better way to start off Pride Month with this episode, talking to a traveler. We're talking about an artist making waves with art. So we got these questions from some of your fans.
Oh, okay.
What are the biggest mistakes gay travelers make?
I think a big mistake that Miss America. I think a big mistake that gay travelers make is that people plan too much. Don't plan too much. Be spontaneous. Leave wiggle room. Leave lots of wiggle room.
Yeah.
Because
I hate itineraries.
I mean, I used to hate them, but I love day drinking and just drinking. So I'll go to, there was 2 days in Paris. I missed all of the tours because I had such a great time in the bars with the locals drinking and day drinking. So I wasted that whole time. I'll sit there and drink all day, if you let me. So
I mean, yeah, live your life. But also I think that gays all travel in different styles, and don't be afraid or ashamed of whatever style it is. If you're the type of gay that's the only way that you're going to see the world is if you go to Excelsior, Mykonos, and one magical weekend, circuit parties around the world, you're at least going to see the world. There's no shame in that. If you're someone that's only into art, go and check out all the art. Go where your style is, but just go somewhere. Because hello, with this past year, we couldn't go anywhere, and who knows who was going to make it out of this. Yep. So if you did and you're still here, at least just book some travel and get out there and go where it's warm for you.
This question comes from somebody who's dating an influencer, saying it's annoying when we go on trips and they always have to take pictures and videos. I feel like he's not really present and he's not enjoying the trip.
Well,
advice. I mean, your job is literally this is what I got to do.
Literally what I do every day. So I think set the expectations before the trip. So is this person going on the trip with his bestie who is an influencer?
Partner.
What's the scenario? The partner's an influencer.
Yeah.
Well, if your partner's an influencer, girl, you should be taking the photos. You should be helping set up the tripod. You're probably getting that hotel for free,
Yeah.
or you're
is a
getting
good
some
point.
coin for something. So be a team player. Just the more that because I mean, my ex, who went the same. You know what? No ill feelings, but one of my exes was so annoyed whenever we would go out and I would be like, I'm gonna get out my ring light and take a video of the food, and he would just be so over it. And I'm like, bitch, this food is free because of me, and like I like doing this, so let me just live my life. Yeah, I can still listen to you have a dialogue, but I think that there's like a fine line of like.
You could set some hours aside a day. Yeah.
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 Like, hey, boo, I'm gonna wake up to do the sunrise, like with my rainbow flag and my jockstrap on top of my hotel.
Yes.
Can you take a picture? And then I promise I won't do anything until lunch.
Like with anything, there should be a negotiation, an understanding.
But you really bring up
we're gonna do.
a good point that they should be supportive. This is your career. Like in Devil Wears Prada, my biggest thing is that her boyfriend is such a piece of crap.
I agree.
I mean, the only good thing he did was, have beautiful eyes and make grilled cheese sandwiches. But the rest of it,
and the
support
friends,
your girl.
And the friends who shamed her.
And got free shit, by the way.
Exactly.
Okay, here's another question. This is actually from my mom, by the way. What can we as Americans learn from other cultures?
Where do we start?
Yeah.
First of all, I understand that we speak English. If you're gonna go to a place where English isn't the first language, at least learn the basics. At least learn the basics of hello, where's the bathroom, thank you.
Thank you should be the very first one. Because
so I think like
I'm sorry for being American.
Well, sorry for Trump. Pardon para Trumpo.
Yeah, I think like the big thing is like there's a real sense of entitlement from American travelers when we go places because we are from the land of the free. Well, that's a whole other thing.
Free with air quotes.
Yeah, I think that we have this expectation that we should be treated like the elite, and I would just say humble yourself. And if you go to a place where, maybe tank tops aren't the thing, if you're going to a more conservative place, like know the rules, know where you're going, don't be an asshole. Respect the culture where you go.
Don't touch stuff you're not supposed to touch.
Yes, including other people's boyfriends.
Yeah.
No, but I agree. When I see like a sexy underwear model taking a picture in front of like the Greek ruins, I'm like, really? Or at the, anyway. But I think that's very good advice. My first European trip was with a group of, I would say, middle-class travelers, and they were so mad that people at the gift shops weren't speaking English. In fact, one was like, don't you know any English? And we were in Germany, by the way. And I couldn't believe that somebody would have the intelligence or lack of intelligence to say that. Okay, if somebody could afford only 3 major trips in their life, what 3 places should they go to?
Okay, 3 places to go to. God, that's such a hard question. Okay, Cape Town, South Africa.
Oh, interesting.
Giving you views, giving you beach, giving you food, super affordable. You have to get there, which is not affordable. Yeah. But once you're there, you're not going to spend really any money. And the men are beautiful. So Cape Town, South Africa is 1. I'm
literally writing this down.
God, you know what? I would say go to Chile. Fly into Santiago, Chile, because it's an amazing city that people always think of. If you go to Santiago, you need to leave and go to the mountains or go down south, and you should do all of that. So if you go to Chile, fly into Santiago, do like 2 or 3 nights there, but then take a day trip to Valparaiso and see the beautiful street art, and then go down south, go up north, take like 2 weeks and do that. The Andes Mountains, hello. If you want to just feel like you're on top of the world. So, okay, we got Cape Town, we have Chile, Santiago, Chile, and I'm going to pick somewhere in the United States. If you're a gay, if you're a gay.
If.
Okay.
Everyone's a little gay.
I gotta say, I love P-Town. P-Town, yes, it's a staple, but it's also a place where you can go if you are, no matter how you fit into the Alphabet Mafia tribe. No matter what you're into, no matter how avant-garde you are, you're going to be accepted and you're going to be able to fit in there and you're going to be able to find a tribe. I've been there for Independence Week. I've been there for Bear Week. I've been there for Carnival. I've been there for Pride Week. I've been there for like a random week.
They don't have a Comic-Con there, bitch.
We should have a Comic-Con.
Why don't we start it? Why don't we start our first Comic-Con?
Who would you dress as?
Anybody from Star Trek, by the way. Anybody. Let's do Comic-Con.
Okay.
Yeah,
Done.
I don't know what I want to dress as.
I think you would be Deanna Troi with the mustache. Like a Riker Deanna Troi crossover. Yes.
Oh, I like that.
You don't even know who I'm talking
I think
about.
we're onto something though. I the mustache description. I'm just like feeling it.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna do a quick segment called Truth or Sip. Then we're gonna let you go to bed because you're in New York and you need to go to bed. Kurt,
this is way past my bedtime.
I know, bitch. Kurt, take it away.
Oh.
Truth or Sip on the Rocks with Alexander.
All right, Ravi, you either have to answer the truth or you have to take a sip from the cocktail that I know you have. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Some of these are like, oh, that's cute, but some of these are like, oh, okay. Talking about your theater career, the worst onstage mishap.
The worst onstage mishap was the end of Altar Boys. I had to... I don't know if you know the show, but I played the Jewish guy who like brings the band back together.
Yes,
and there's a really like intense moment where I get really mad at everyone and I blow up, and then I bring the boys back together. But I got really mad and I blew up and I forgot the words, and I was like, and I looked at the music director, who was Justin Paul, by the way, who wrote Dear Evan Hansen. Anyway, he was music director at the time, and he looked at me, and he started cracking up. And then I started cracking up, and I couldn't hold my shit.
Done.
I couldn't hold my shit together, and the boys started cracking up. Just hot mess. Ruin the show.
There's a viral clip going around because we're in June, and why have none of my gay theater friends share this to me? Leslie Uggams, who is an icon, is singing "June is busting out all over," and she forgets the words. I don't think I've laughed so hard in so long. Because we know it's Rodgers and Hammerstein, we all know the words, and she literally was performing. It was like for thousands of people, and it was live, whatever. Have you ever? Why didn't you send this to me? And she makes it there. She's like, I don't know, and then she'll come out with like a random word, but the words she sings sound like they're from Harry Potter. We're like, Muggle, blah 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 blah, but she commits to it.
So good.
She commits, and at the end, she's like, John, and it's like, bitch, you go. But like. So watch this video. Just look up Leslie Uggams forgets the word. Anyway, okay. Next one. Trip you had the best sex on. What city did you have the best sex in?
So many.
The best.
I took a sip, but I'd say Barcelona.
Barcelona. Really? I would have thought like an Italian city because those boys, like gay, straight, they don't care. They're like, okay.
No, Barcelona.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go to Barcelona, and the boys are beautiful. What trip did you hook up with more than one person in one day?
Barcelona.
That's why the sex is so good.
Oh, he took a sip. His boyfriend at the time was probably in the other room. Oh, my God. Okay. What is your least favorite thing about filming a travel show? Truth or sip? My
least favorite thing... it's such a grueling schedule. It's literally from, sometimes like 6 a.m. until like 11 or 12 at night.
Yeah.
So I think that the hardest part on it is just getting up and having to be on, and getting up extra early. So like I have the extra cup of coffee. So I'm like really on.
Put the eye patches on, the concealer, all of that stuff. Okay. Yeah. A city you don't ever have to go back to. You're like, did it, hated it.
A city I don't ever have, I don't ever have to go back to Amsterdam.
What? That's like usually like a gay man's mecca. Like if they have 3 days left to live, 3 are in Amsterdam. They'll remember 1. That's interesting. Do you want to say why?
I It was so hyped, and like, yes, the canals are
interesting.
beautiful. But it was like, a time in my life where I, didn't really care about going to see the museums. And it was like a big party scene. I just didn't feel like I necessarily got a huge grasp of like what the culture was, and I just wasn't really feeling it.
Well, because you don't do drugs and you're vegan.
Well, now.
No. Oh, okay. What airport or traveling cheat is so trashy, but you do it?
What? Say that again?
Like, there's like, how we, like, if you cheat at the airport or while you're traveling, like we do like a cheap thing, like put rolls in our suitcase or steal like the robe or whatever.
My cheat is I make it my mission every single time I go to the airport to get into the first class lounge. So I have it down to a pat now. I put in my headphones and I pretend like I'm on a super important business call, and I walk right into the lounge. And if you act like you're important, then you are important.
Can I steal that? Of course, if I do it, they'll be like, "No, bitch." I'm gonna try that.
If you like walk in with a purpose, they're not gonna stop you.
All right.
You have to kind of like gauge it out though.
Yeah,
like,
that's the
like,
velvet
you
rope
dress nice
technique.
enough,
Any
they will
velvet
notice.
rope, like
But
New
the
York
richest
City,
people
whatever.
don't
just...
dress nice. The richest people don't dress nice traveling. My grandma we always wore a suit when we traveled, even if it was like the plane from here to Palm Springs. Like, you wore a suit. But people wear horrible sweats with holes in them, and the worst dresses are the rich people because they're like, I'm off duty. Okay, Ravi, I know you had some stomach issues in Bali, but what city has the worst food?
I have to say that the worst food was when I was on tour in St. Louis, because where the theater was, the only restaurants that were there had no vegetarian options except for a side salad. So I'm like, really?
I must
Louis,
visit this magic land.
I hope that St. Louis has gotten it together since then.
They haven't.
Then opt for the rotisserie chicken. I mean,
But yeah,
Rotisserie chicken is vegan,
painful.
right?
yes.
No,
they asked for it.
I mean, I make joke of it, and vegan people, God bless you. They're like sober people. I appreciate them. I just can't hang out with them too long. I'm just teasing.
I'm not vegan. I'm a vegetarian. There's a difference. I eat eggs. I eat cheese.
Is there? Okay. Well, then there's more options.
Those are the differences.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
But,
vegans
it's like-
literally
it's like
will not have fun.
a lot of these top tier cities in America that are not in the, not LA, San Fran, San Diego, New York, Miami, Houston, like a lot of these other cities, they don't really have, the vegetarian options are always like, I'm going to give you linguine. Like, I don't need to eat fettuccine Alfredo or a salad. Can you have something a little bit more?
But it's so good. Pasta's so
A little more creative.
Okay. Ravi, yeah.
Okay, I watched a few of your videos before, coming in and stuff. And one of my favorites was, it was probably like 2017 or 2018. You were in Philadelphia, which I went to right after college. And you went to Woody's, right? That was my first bar job. Now, what was amazing about seeing this video was when I worked at Woody's, there was none of that. You would walk into like a little bar, and there's like a little sandwich place to the right, and that's what I was like 21 or whatever age I was working there. But I saw that and I was like, are you kidding? That's what it looks like. There's like dance floor and it's huge, and I'm like, yeah. This is like 1990 something.
It's like the Abbey, which is so huge and started off like as a bakery.
Nostalgia.
I didn't know that about the Abbey.
It was great.
It was a bakery across the street by the cleaners was a little bakery, and then it turned into a little, okay, we're going to sell alcohol, and now it's...
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Really?
Ravi, tell our viewers, our listeners, where you want them to find you and follow you.
Sure. So I am Ravi Round the World, like you said, not around, but round. Alliteration. I'm on Instagram, Ravi Round the World, YouTube, Ravi Round the World, TikTok, the same. And please follow the GAYCATION Travel Show. We are on YouTube. New episodes come out every Friday. Just look up GAYCATION Travel Show on YouTube. You will see it. And everything is under the umbrella, gaycationmagazine.com. And we hope that you'll tune in to to see our episodes every Friday until July. We got 5 more episodes, baby.
Ravi, when are you coming to LA? Because you know you have to come in studio.
Oh my God, I would love tomorrow.
Okay, let's make it. Let's do like, here's our tour of the Beverly Hills Police Station. It actually is very nice, by the way. It's so nice. I had a lovely evening. I don't know. Ravi, such a pleasure to chat with you. Can't wait till you can actually visit us in person. But until then, we are traveling along with you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. This was great.
A pleasure.
Until next time. All right, we after our break, we are talking to filmmaker Timo Reese. We're going to be talking about sci-fi filmmaking and actually a little musical theater too when we come back. During quarantine, we've all been a little antsy lately, maybe causing some friction at home with our loved ones, or with our loved ones, lefty and righty. I'd like to introduce you to the official lube of On the Rocks radio show, Uberlube, the luxury lube used and appreciated by our crew and host. Feeling is everything. Excitement, intimacy, anticipation, contentment. Uberlube lets you feel all the things you want to feel, and it was created with sex in mind, but with the formula so pure and perfected, why limit it to just one area of your life? Sex! Uberlube makes sex better for everyone by reducing friction, not sensation. Style! From taming frizz and conditioning ends to achieving a smooth, healthy sheen, Uberlube is a multi-purpose styling solution for salons and at home. Sport! Whether you're training for a triathlon or just keeping in shape, Uberlube provides long-lasting, high-performance chafe protection. And when travel is a thing again, check out Uberlube's Good To Go Traveler, perfect for your purse, pocket, gym bag, or carry-on luggage. The Good To Go Traveler features the same Uberlube product in a discreet traveler for your encounters with other discreet travelers. Mile High Club, anyone? If you are caught with your pants down, don't you dare be caught with anything else but Uberlube, bringing you the luxury in lube since 2002, headquartered in Chicago. And you know they know a lot about sausages in Chicago. Head to Uberlube.com to stock up. Who knows how much longer we're going to be home alone? Your loved ones will thank you, lefty and righty. Also use discount code On The Rocks for a little prize when you check out. Very excited to talk to Timo, by the way, Reese, a gay digital artist and filmmaker. He's a longtime fan of science fiction, and his artistic mission is to contribute to the media representation of queer people in the genre, or as he puts it, which I love, putting gays in space. He lives in LA, sorry boys, with his boyfriend and their 2 dogs, Fozzie and Gonzo. Please welcome Timo Reese.
It's me.
It's you.
It's me. It's me. It's me. It's me. It's me.
Okay, before we talk about sci-fi, let's talk about, I just found out that you kind of have a musical theater background too.
Background with air quotes. You know.
Girl, you've been singing show tunes since the minute you walked in. Did you do it like in high school, college?
So I did musical theater in high school before I was out. Super stealthy, I know.
We all did. We all did
All
musical
of us
theater.
were like,
I was like the gayest person on stage.
I'm the straight guy in musical theater, guys. In this high school, I am the token straight. I was not even a little.
What roles were you playing though?
Oh no. I have to like use my memory now. I had gotten rid of that. No, I played
High school. That was like 10 minutes ago. Come on.
Oh, you're so kind.
Yeah.
I played Billy in Anything Goes.
Oh, okay.
I had to like do a lift with a friend of mine where we were like, oh, we're doing this big thing. And I have a story that goes with it. At the end of Act 1, basically throughout all of the first act, if you've seen Anything Goes, Billy does not leave the stage. If he leaves the stage, it is through a revolving door to make a costume change, and that is it. And I had food poisoning. And I didn't know that I had food poisoning until like halfway through Act 1. And I couldn't leave the stage. I couldn't stop doing the thing. But at one point, like, I go backstage for one of the quick changes, and they hand me a water bottle, and they're like, the conductor said you looked pale. And I'm like, what's different? And they're like, no, but like bad. And I'm like, oh God, okay. And so I like chug a bunch of water, and I'm just like, okay, well, what do I do? And during the lift at the end of Act 1, it was in DeLovely.
No.
Almost dropped her into the orchestra pit. And it was mortifying, and it was like the worst time. And then afterwards.
That's not how I thought that story was gonna.
Oh, what did you think was going to
I
happen?
thought there was a release story, but also to Lovely, you have to hit that the Lovely.
Oh, no,
you
no,
have
no,
to
no.
do that at the end.
Yeah, hit the notes just fine. Almost dropped a woman into the pit.
Oh, that's fine. As long as you didn't shit your pants. Like,
She'll be fine. She was getting paid.
Like, it was high school, bitch. She was getting extra credit.
Imagine.
What I love, and you and I came into contact. You were doing something great during COVID. A number of the LGBTQ clubs were having problems.
Yes.
Their staff was having issues. Bars that weren't necessarily set up to sell food on Postmates or anything like that, really having a struggle. And so you donated doing specific art pieces for money towards Precinct DTLA. Kurt, can you just show? This is what Timo did for me, mixing. No, that is not me.
That's me and my boyfriend. We're very cute.
Okay, so I could not pick a better depiction, and all I kind of did was sent you a few photos and said, I podcast and I have drinks. That's literally one of the jackets that I wear at my event. You captured this.
You got his bronzer, right?
You got my bronzer. You got my rosacea from drinking, right? But also my love of sci-fi, right? What I really love is your love and fascination of sci-fi. There's this growing number of gay people in the sci-fi comic kind of world. We've always been there, but we've never
We have absolutely
had
always been there.
a
I was about to
platform.
chime in. I'm hitting the mic, my goodness. I was about to chime in with, growing as though it wasn't there to begin with, as though gay people didn't save Star Trek with fan letters. See.
Yeah.
There we are.
Yeah.
But no, it is absolutely a growing fan base of queer people who love sci-fi, and just super happy to be a part of it.
As a young geek, I assumed that if, even though you didn't speak about it, if somebody else was a geek, I thought, well, maybe they are too.
See, I always thought the opposite. I always thought if they were really into video games and being a geek, like hardcore sci-fi. So let's talk about the world of sci-fi. To me, it's always been very hetero, very macho, with the half-naked ladies. The heroes were always womanizing everybody. Was it more gay, or did I miss and you felt...
I guess there's a lot to say for gay coding. People were reading Spock and Kirk as gay. People have read, people shipped Han Solo and Luke Skywalker as gay very loudly, to the point where George Lucas disavowed it. He's like, no, we can't have that. We can't have gays in Star Wars. And I wish we did.
So now let's let a brother and sister kiss, because we can't have that.
But that's fine,
incest
because
is
that's
fine.
not gay.
Yeah,
Incest is fine as long as it's not gay.
It's in the
That's the
Bible.
rules.
Okay, so let's talk about our personal experiences with sci-fi and where that comes from. Michael, what was your sci-fi experience?
Oh my gosh. I'm not loath to say I saw Star Wars in the theater when it came out. Was that 76, 77,
That's
something
incredible.
like that. And it was a phenomenon.
It was lines around the theater for years, by the way.
Yeah. And what is essentially a basic story, and it just became this,
But dressed up so well.
dressed up and done so well, and so and then you had toy tie-ins, and you had all this stuff, and yes, that's a whole
I'm gonna make you wet for just a second. So my mom...
No, don't do this to me.
I love that the
I know
I'm
where-
going to make you wet
I know where
sentence
this is
started
going.
with my mom.
Well, no.
I
My
bet
mom,
you there's a storage unit somewhere with everything that I.
You literally just said it.
Oh,
my mom
spoilers.
had an idea.
Not
I have a
spoilers.
storage unit full of original
Andrew,
Star
if
Wars
you're listening,
toys.
we're gonna raid this storage unit.
Original toys with the guns, with all the whatever.
Oh, stop
the
it.
packaging, not really
Not if
there.
I
I'm just gonna
rate
be
it
honest.
first, my goodness.
I even have the Rancor monster. I have the Ewok village. I have the
Oh.
Ice Hoth set. I have it all.
How long have we been friends, and I don't have any of this, and you don't even want it?
But in front of all of that are boxes of Star Trek memorabilia, which is what you really want.
No, I don't.
So,
I
no,
love
I'm saying
this. I love that we can gang up on him.
Yes.
In the
Oh,
no, no.
emails, all the interactions that we've had.
Just so you wait. You know how we do a hot topic every,
I know where he lives.
every week? This hot topic is Star Trek versus Star Wars, but we're not quite there yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll save it.
You
I'll save
come
it.
from the Star Wars, but we also know that before Star Wars, George Lucas, his whole Star Wars world was set on like the westerns and that kind of stuff. The Flash Gordons of his time. Sci-Fi has been part of Hollywood and part of little boys' lives. Like little boys were doing the Annie, Little Orphan Annie decoders at the same time that they were doing Flash Gordons with their lasers. And our fascination with Orson Welles and War of the Worlds, it was the fascination of this other kind of possibility.
But where did you jump on with Star Trek? Because I saw the original film in the theater. Did you watch was it the reruns?
I'm going to tell you, and it's so special to me, and this is why my connection with Star Trek is a little bit fiercer than Star Wars. I was also raised and love Star Wars. I mean, I have a Star Wars watch on right now.
Okay.
My mom was raised on Star Trek because her father was one of the original NASA engineers. If you see all the documentaries of the first Men on the Moon, the first Apollo missions, my grandfather is there. He literally was an engineer developing. He worked for NASA until the Challenger explosion, and he even talked about this. Is he knew that they were cutting corners and all this kind of stuff, and he knew the issues with the Challenger. So when that tragedy happened, and then they did this investigation, he was like, But he was there from day one. So my mom, even when the Apollo module came back, as a little girl, everybody else got to see it from behind the ropes because of my grandfather and because he had an ego. My mom got to actually slide in and sit into.
Wait, your mom, a little girl Challenger?
No, the Apollo.
Oh, the Apollo. Okay.
I say my grandfather worked for NASA until the Challenger. Yeah, but my mom as a little girl slid into the Apollo and she got to be in it. We have parts of the Apollo that are in.
Wow.
Yeah. So she was fascinated and so intrigued by space. So when Star Trek came around, we're talking late 60s, this is a show that she was able to. They weren't able to watch other stuff on TV, but Star Trek was a show that she could watch. So when Star Trek the motion picture came back, and we're talking years later, it had been in syndication. To see, it's almost like what we felt when we saw Luke Skywalker again, when we saw Princess Leia again years later. This is what Star Trek the motion picture had in 1979, was we hadn't seen the Enterprise. We hadn't seen these people together, except in our minds.
Did you cry?
Well, I wasn't there. It was 1979, bitch. But
I'm gonna leave.
Get her.
I'm leaving.
But what happened to my mom when they saw the Enterprise?
I'm here for it.
When they saw the Enterprise reimagined, she burst into tears. Oh, because it was you guys. So I was raised on this love of Star Trek. So I was raised by a single mom. Not that makes me more special, but there is a certain bond.
Same.
It was just my mom and me and my grandma, but. Going to school, this is when movies would only come out Fridays, and you didn't see like a midnight showing. Like movies, you saw at the first showing at either 10:50 or 11:15, whatever. So every Star Trek film that came out while I was in school, and I'm talking from grade school all the way through high school, the nurse would come to whatever class I was in and said, "Oh, there's a family emergency. Your mom is here to pick you up." And it was her in the mornings to go see whatever Star Trek film that was.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And it was our bonding time. And we know Star Trek is more about the relationships than other things. Wait a minute, we're going to get to this debate, but it's really focused on that. It's not like this high action film like Star Wars is. Doesn't mean it's any less enjoyable. It just means it's more of a familial experience. And so that was our bonding time. So that was my bond with Star Trek to this day.
Star Wars is more about your chosen family, I suppose.
And incest, obviously. Incest.
Yes.
Wait a minute. No, Star Wars is literally about your real family. Star Trek is chosen family. Because none of those people were related. What was your first experience to sci-fi?
Oh, no. Look, I don't know if I can pull up this memory. It's so far back there. I love that I talk like an old man. It's very funny to me. I guess early experiences with sci-fi. I mean, it was probably Star Wars. My uncle would try to get me into like sci-fi things, into nerdy stuff. The rest of my family was very religious, and so anything like science adjacent was on the no-go list. Same with like witchcraft adjacent things. It was a whole the 90s. But
Charmed was like this.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. But the my uncle had me watch like the Star Wars original trilogy. And I don't know if at that point it was like if he had the VHSs of like the original versions or if my first introduction was like the special editions or something like that. I have
How old are you?
Am I going to get bullied about it.
No.
Okay, I'm 26.
So I would venture to say that those were probably the special edition
It was probably the special editions by then. But I have since disavowed those. I swear by the despecialized. Incredible works of art. I love the fact that those exist. But yeah, I think it probably was Star Wars as my introduction, and all of the like Spielbergy 80s, 90s classics. E.T., Jurassic Park. I actually haven't seen AI. It's been on my list for 100 years.
As an artist, you need to see it without it. Put your cell phone away. Put distraction away. AI is a very powerful film.
The Spielberg with the kid with the
It's
little...
the kid, and it's with robots. Jude Law's in it.
Yeah,
Not many people have
it
seen
was
it. I think it was
originally-
sold wrong.
It was like
sold to sell
directed by
tickets.
Stanley Kubrick, and then Stanley.
It's very Kubrick.
Gosh, Steven Spielberg took over.
It's
What was
very
this?
Kubrick.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, this film, and if you haven't seen it, it's perfect to binge watch. It's such a beautiful film. It's not, but I think when they sold it in theaters, they wanted to just sell tickets, so they sold it as like an adventure, as like
family
romance,
friendly
sci-fi. It's not that at all. It is about family.
Mm-hmm.
It's about adoption. It's about identity. It's about being alone.
See, now I think I want to see it because
It's one of
the
the
way they
saddest films
sold
I've ever
it,
seen in
I
my
didn't
entire
Can we
wanna
watch
life.
it together and have
Yes.
a movie night?
Yes, I'll be in tears from the minute. And I'm the kind that if I
incredible.
watch a movie with you and you're not paying attention or you're eating popcorn or have to go back, I'm like, did you see that? Did you see that? Like, I'm that kind of person. But
I mean,
it's,
I'll watch.
It's
I'll pay attention.
it's such an important film, and I think everybody should see it because it really is about more than robots and sci-fi, and which I think at the heart of any good sci-fi is it has to come from a real place.
I'm
Absolutely.
going to backtrack for a moment. Yes, Star Wars was about family, but it was the.
We're gonna have a debate, though.
Okay.
So
okay.
save it for
I
the
have
debate.
written this shit down because.
So, Timo, what I love about your art is that
Yes.
there's many different mediums that you do. You do digital art. You also do branded art for corporations, and you do, like, here's your assignment. You do filmmaking as well. But how did the idea of doing art first attract you? It's one thing to be a fan of sci-fi, and there's another thing to be like, you know what, I'm going to start creating. Do you remember at, like, what kind of age that kind of happened, or what the first art thing that you did was?
Easily before I can remember, but I have been shown videos from my childhood. Back when I was very, very young, you pulled up my reel. I see that.
These are all Timo's creations, by the way.
Well, some of this is stuff that I did video for and not the key art for. I don't want to take credit where credit is not due. But back when I was a very, very young child, I would like draft my siblings into starring in like home movies. We did sort of a B horror movie sci-fi thing, pastiche, sort of like the Godzilla, the Hong Kong.
I love that.
And it was with my dog. We had like a little tiny city like play set that I would film at a very, very low angle, and I would film this adorable tiny dog as though she grew to 100 sizes, and film my sister and my brother in like military uniforms we got from like secondhand stores, just being like, look up there, the giant dog, my goodness. And then my sister, the like iconic diva she was, would say her line and then turn to the camera and pose and just be like, we're done. And that was in the final cut, and that was very funny.
Every major contemporary filmmaker has that same story, that they all started doing their own home videos with their pets, with their family, with, you know, their little cut takes.
Well, I at least was born very much in sync with, okay, the internet is starting to become a thing. Very much at the beginning of, we're all influencers now. We're all, if you are a creative type, you are creating things on the internet. And that's, yeah, I think that's probably so common.
When I was on the internet, it took like, if you want to download like somebody's art, it'd be like,
Made the noise.
Yeah, I was downloading their art. That's what I was downloading. Okay.
I just drew it.
Well, but this is,
Meaning it was before that.
yes. No, you chiseled it. Let's just be true. It was
Wow.
like, bum, bum, bum.
Wow.
But Mike, what I
This
love
is why I drink.
Chiseling is very hard. Like I have tried sculpting.
Somebody
It's one of the
joked that.
only.
Thank you.
It's one of the only mediums I won't go back to
because it's too
just so
definite.
hard.
It's so definite.
It's definite, and it's like the only thing you can do is go more. It's like when you're getting a haircut. They're like, we can start you kind of long. We can always go shorter, but we can never go longer.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
But some of the best art is when you take chances and you go too short, and you're like, well, this is my haircut. This is what I'm going to identify as.
That's
now.
true. And then just making it work. And then finding ways to be like, oh, I made this mistake. No, I
Adapting.
didn't. This wasn't a mistake. This is on purpose, and the rest of it is built around it.
Adapting. But Michael, what I love about you being part of the show, talking about art, is you collect art. You collect many different forms of art. You've been the
know
subject
that.
of art.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You go to his house. It's
addiction.
not going
I
to.
love
it's,
that addiction.
It's not going to somebody's house. It's actually going to an art museum. It's like
I'd love to go to your art museum. That sounds great. Oh my gosh.
Please. I'll make you a meal. Come on over.
I haven't been invited in 3 years to this person's house, but okay, go
Well,
ahead.
I just did.
Y'all wonder why.
I will tell you why, because the last time. Anyway,
My.
I want to talk about the art that you contribute has a very young energy, and you use technology with your art, right? Pop culture art and sci-fi have really gone hand in hand. From the elaborate movie posters we've seen from the Star Wars era, Drew, what's his name? Stratman, I think, doing the George Lucas posters and the Indiana Jones posters. I mean, that is art. Even having H.R. Geiger as an influence with Alien. What does your art, do you think, uniquely contribute to the sci-fi world?
You know, it's so funny actually that you mentioned that my art has a younger feel, because especially with this series, I am doing full throwback. Like, this is some Mary Blair 1960s shit in the style that I'm doing. Anyone who is unfamiliar, Mary Blair was famously a concept artist for Disney, and her big contribution is she wouldn't do a lot of very detailed stuff, but what she would do was a lot of color blocking. So she would make these very abstract, very stylized figures and then just paint in a way where you could see what the colors were going to be, and they were always gorgeous and they were always on point. And she was one of the only female concept artists at Disney at the time, and she was incredible, and I love her.
And just to make a little side note, Disney did not like that kind of art. They wanted to see exactly what you were going to be doing. Tim Burton, by the way, worked as an illustrator for Disney for concept. His concepts for some of the cartoons that actually made it to film, he was fired because of his ideas.
You know what? I'm sure that a part of that is as all artists suffer from the middleman, the money man. The non-creatives who are making the decision. Yeah, people making decisions about art who aren't artists, who aren't trusting their
That
artists.
too. Plus, I'm paying for a product. I want to see the product. If I want you to design a car, I want
because
to
I
turn
can't
the
see
key.
outside that little box.
I don't want to speak ill of anyone, so I won't use names.
I will.
But I have had so many freelance gigs back when I was much more doing freelance, where people just did not understand the concept of being like, this is a work in progress. This is the direction we're going in. Would you like it to go in a different direction? They're just like, it doesn't look done.
They don't know how to say that.
It isn't done, but and they're like, well, why did you show it to me if it's not done? And I'm like, because I'm not going to finish it if it's not what you want.
Because you need wiggle room.
I'm giving you the option to give notes now so that we can continue in a different direction. And, honestly, it's gotten wilder since I've been in freelance. Like, honestly, concept artists have to be so incredibly talented and so wonderfully in the details now, and they have to do it so fast. Like, I don't think I would ever want to be a concept artist for film, because I have heard horror stories of people being like, well, they're giving a pitch meeting at 3, it's 2:35, can you create a still from a film, high fantasy, something with a lightsaber, go, you have 20 minutes. And then that's it. And then that's all they get. And I'm just like, wow. Honestly, I'm in awe. It's incredible. The way, the pace at which that industry works is fascinating, mind-blowing. And I'm just like, I'll do something else. I'll do something else where I can take a little bit more time. It'll be great.
But I think talking about the artist you were talking about who was able to do that freedom at Disney was a true testament to her art that was so different.
Oh, yeah.
That you couldn't put in a box and you're like, just let her go.
And she knew how to work colors like no one else in the world. Like, I love her. I'm a very big fan.
So what is your creative process? And I know it's such a cliche question, but it fascinates me because we all work differently. Whether like you start just doodling something on a napkin or whether you're looking at different images like on Google, like I kind of want this feel. Like, what is your process?
I mean, it definitely depends on the medium. I think the process for the Gays in Space series that I'm doing right now is kind of a collaborative process, honestly. It's all based around like the idea of, oh, commission me for a piece of art and I will donate all of the proceeds to the Safe Precinct Fund, which we've raised almost more than $1,000 for at this point, which is incredible.
Yeah. Well, it's because you also charge so little for your art.
Look, you can bully me later. When I don't want to get sidetracked. We'll get back to it. What was the question again?
Boxers or briefs?
No, we were talking
Boxer briefs is the only jockstraps. I mean, what do you think the answer to that question is?
Creative process.
Creative process. Okay, so the creative process for this project has been, if people reach out to me being like, hi, I want one, I'll be like, okay, great. Send me a photo of you in what you would wear to a futuristic space gay bar. Go. And then, because this what started earlier in quarantine, everyone was like so excited, being like, oh, I haven't been able to go to a gay bar in so long. I haven't been out. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go through my closet. I'm gonna find the coolest, spaciest outfit that I can find, and they'll do like little photo shoots in their room. And it was such a cute experience. And I would just be like, yes, that energy, and then just draw it. I guess the draw it part was the part you were asking about, the process. I like shapes. I like starting with a circle and going out, and just, you can do so many things from just, especially in digital art, just starting with a circle and then like tweaking things until it's a different thing.
So is it that you like just start kind of doodling, so to speak, not as base as doodling, but you just work with almost like a sculptor? We were talking about sculpture. Like,
it's like
you have
the
like
inverse of
piece
sculpturing is
okay.
what I do. Is I like to take the thing in its smallest form and then build from it, like all the way down. Whereas a sculptor would be like, here is your piece of marble, and we're going to go in until there's a thing there. I do the opposite.
But it's always that one little thing. Like for me as an actor, you know, as I'm looking at a script or whatever, I'll find suddenly just a position of the body.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I'll just move a certain way. And I'm like, that's that.
And it always starts with a spark. It always starts with I can work with this. I understand what the energy is. We're doing it. Done.
Yeah.
It's so funny how different artists are. I mean, I don't consider myself an artist on your guys' level, but when I approach like a role or something, even like doing a podcast, or you have to do this live performance, which I consider an art when you have to.
Oh, it absolutely is.
I want everything black and white. I'm the kind of musical theater performer is I want to know what the orchestra's intro is. I want to know what the sheet music is. I want to know exactly what the blocking is. So then I can build my stuff on top of the structure. You know how some actors that have somebody that have played the role before were like, oh, I don't want to even look at their performance. I want to look at their performance to see what the skeleton is so that I can either change it or whatever. But I need that concrete black and white.
I want to see what everyone else has done so that I can do something different.
Yeah, that too.
I want to be like, I want mine to be a choice. I want to make sure whatever anybody else has done, and maybe I'll just be like, oh, that was cool and that was cool and that was cool, but it's never been combined in this way. I know that there hasn't been original thoughts for years, and I'll never claim to say that
everything's
I have
informed by
thoughts.
what's come before.
Because everything is informed by what's come before.
I mean, even the Bible is borrowed art from stories that have come
Seriously.
before.
And a lot of Shakespeare's work is fan fiction,
none
basically.
Of his work is actually original. Romeo and Juliet, that's not his. It's an Italian sonnet.
Yeah.
These are all stories that were told before him. Okay, we are sharing coming out stories.
It's about the form. Oh, we're sharing coming out stories?
So I would love to know what your coming out story is.
Well, mine's kind of sad. Do we have like a sound effect of sad violins that we
No.
can play?
and here's what I have to say about Timo is that you look at his social media, you look at his portfolio, you see what he's doing for the community. You know I love to do research, and I love to talk about the personal side of an artist. Your social media is very outward. It's focused on your art, not really on you. We'll see a selfie every now and then, but we don't really get to know about you. I don't know what high school you went to, which I tried to look up, like, with the research we do.
Oh.
And so for you to share the story means a lot to me because I want to see where this art kind of comes from.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'll tell it in a way that is kind of funny. So
You don't have to shape it or make it funny. You just tell it.
I'm an artist. I love shaping things.
Make it sad. I love to cry.
Oh, God.
So back in the old country. No, I'm from
Wow.
California.
He's 26.
Are you coming for me?
What part of California, by the way?
You said making it sad. I grew up in Oxnard.
That's the saddest I can think.
Yeah, that is the
Well, I
Either
don't know
that
what that
or
means.
Riverside. It's those two sad.
Is that where that is?
To me, it's all in one land.
It's like a Pomona thing? I don't
So by the time I come out, I was 20. I basically knew in high school. I mean, I was doing musical theater, so of course I did. But I didn't. I was like very, very scared to come out. We lived in a weird red bubble of like, at the time it wasn't in Oxnard, but at the time we lived in a red bubble of California. So it was very much I cannot come out. There's no way to do this. Oh my gosh. I will live my life in secret, and then one day I'll send my family a wedding invitation, and if they say no, I'll never speak to them again. I had these weird like catastrophizing things in my brain. I had built up
catastrophizing.
That's cute.
My nipple got hard. Thank you.
My goodness.
He only has one functioning left. Yep.
And that's why that happens.
That's the one.
Cool. Good to know. Like we have entomology fans.
I love that he has grammar. You know, some of our like when we have people from MTV and CW, like they don't have grammar. Vocabulary.
I've been trying to build a persona as a himbo because I have so many like gaps in my knowledge. But my vocabulary makes me sound like a nerd, and I'm just like, I can never do it. I can never make it happen. Anyway, so living in a red bubble, very scared to come out. Finally did come out to a few close friends and started like hooking up with people and like being like, going on a date with someone.
At age 20.
At age 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had dated girls before, but it was like,
They're girls.
Lovely, lovely people. I wish them the best.
Well, yeah.
I was never going to
go
do
shopping,
anything.
Some
Go
of my
on
favorite
shows.
people are girls.
Yes,
A girl
I'm
gave
sorry.
birth to me. You know.
Yeah.
There's something.
Allegedly.
No, women are.
I love
women
you,
are
Mom.
perfect.
I
Women
know
are
she's
per-
watching. I love you. You know I'm kidding.
I understand 100% that women are better than me constantly, but
Oh, absolutely.
not attracted to them. A tragedy. But so I had dated women in high school, and then I was starting to date guys kind of like early college-y. I was going to like a community college, so I wasn't like off in a different town. I was still living with my family. And I was hooking up with this guy, and it was not romantic. It was like in his car. I had parked my car, and then he was like, oh, well, why don't we walk around this park? And then after we walk around the park, we'll make out in my car. And then we did, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And we talked, and it was cute, and it was a good time. And then he had to go at one point, and then I walked back to my car, and I realized I had left the lights on in my car, and my battery was dead, and I couldn't drive home. So I called my grandfather. I lived with my mom and my grandparents on my mom's side at the time. And so I called him because he was like the only person I knew who knew anything about cars or like would be able to jumpstart my car or anything. I called him up and I'm like, hi.
Oh my God.
Why you in a
can
park?
You pick me
I'm
up?
getting anxiety
and he
right
asked,
now.
And it was like 1 a.m. at this point. And he was like, well, and he asked some questions and I thought about it. Like on the drive home, he didn't ask questions until we were in his car driving back because we tried to jumpstart my car and we couldn't, but the park was close enough to my house where we're like, okay, I guess we can pick it up in the morning, but I'm going to drive you home. And I remember it very vividly. We were driving home and he asked, I was like, well, so what were you doing there? Why were you out there?
Bird watching.
Bird watching. I contemplated lying and saying like, oh, I was doing drugs. Because I feel like he would have bought that and he would have been like angry for a minute,
Like,
but then it would have been
in
like,
my day.
I honestly, I was like, because at that point I was like, well, these are of equal repercussions.
I was doing the marijuana.
I was doing the devil's lettuce. And
Especially with that voice, we're like, well, I hear you, son.
I see you. Yes.
Now we switched to 40s radio. Like,
I honestly, I would do it. I would speak in a 40s radio voice this whole time. But no, we we basically parked in the driveway and he asked, and I made the decision. I'm like, I'm gonna tell him, but I was so newly out. I was afraid to use the word gay. It was not in my vocabulary at the time.
It's horrifying.
When I talked to my friends about it, I said I like dudes, with that voice too. It was atrocious. But I turned to him, and my grandfather is this big burly Republican man, and I turned to him and I said, I belong to a group of people you don't like very much. And he just paused and he said, oh. And I was like, oh. And then he hugged me. It was so cute.
Geez.
I buried the lead. I thought I made it sound like it was going to be sadder than that. I feel bad about phrasing it like that because it was like a little bit of a guilt trip. It was like, well, I can't. If I tell him that I'm gay, then he'll be like, well, you know how I feel about gay people. But if I go in there first being like, well, you don't like this group of people very much.
I didn't take it that way. I took it as a very sweeter way, almost like a softer approach. It's like, I'm respecting what you believe. And I came out to very conservative Catholic grandma.
Yeah.
You know, we just don't know. We don't know. People we assume would be okay with it are not okay with it. People that we think, you just don't know, but you have to tell your story.
And honestly, that's kind of what happened because because it was a private setting with my grandfather, and he was the first person I came out to and the last person I expected to come out to.
Probably the hardest person. That's what
I was like, well, if I'm never telling anyone, it's going to be him. And I told him first. And so I was like, okay, well, we got to go down the list. And then I told my grandma, and she cried, but she was nice about it. She's like, we still love you. And I'm like, well, that's good. I'm glad that's not conditional. That's cool. And then I told my siblings, and they were just like, well, my sister was just like, oh my God, yes, I've always wanted a gay best friend. And I'm just like, okay. And then my brother, and he was just like, yeah, I kind of figured. I'm like, don't do that. So I had basically the entire spectrum of like what people react to a coming out story is, because I had to do it like 8 times. Yeah. And then I finally got to my mom, and the sort of dynamic, because I was living with my mom, but I was living with her parents. At the time, it kind of felt to me like she was another sibling. And that's not exactly, but like, you know, like you can always tell grandma or grandpa being like, hey, mom said this. Can you veto that? Because you're her parents, you're the boss, you own the house. And so it was sort of like I felt very close to her. I felt like it was like, okay, well, it's not going to be a big deal to her because I can tell her anything.
More like a best friend.
And she like took it the worst. She was the one, I was expecting this whole time to get, because we raised very religious. I was expecting the fire and brimstone speech, and it didn't come until her. And she was the one who like really went hard with the religious angle, being like, you know, how could you do this to me? How could you, like, what? And that was really difficult. That was really scary. But we've since made up, and I love her a lot. So,
but Timo, you know, so we hear these stories, and you know, the show is called On the Rocks. We have a really good time.
Yeah.
But I think during Pride Month, we should take a moment. I've been spoiled by a mom who's my best friend. You know, you have a very supportive mom. I want to talk about, if you don't mind, what you were feeling when the person you thought was going to be totally okay with it was not, and what you did for the few days after, how you worked on that, or if you just kind of stepped away, how that changed, if you don't mind.
Well, I kind of blew it off, honestly. I was, because I had told everyone else. I was taken aback, for sure, by like, oh, you're not okay with this? Okay. But then I was like, okay, bye. I'm going to go hang out with someone else. You're being weird. And I think, like, I was definitely hurt, like, internally, but I had come out so many times at that point that I was just like, you'll get over it. The people that I was scared to worry about it. Honestly, I like the people, and again, because I was living with her parents and they had already said it was fine, but like they had already said it was fine. I was just like, you know, okay, all right, mom, whatever. And then I was like sad for a little bit, but I was just like, she'll come around, and she kind of did, honestly. Like, I feel very close to her now, and she's really great.
Is any of that, if that kind of energy in your art?
Oh, yeah, it is. I have written definitely a handful of scripts with mommy issues. Because of course you got to channel it into something, and like even though I'm past it now and like we're great now, it's just like I remember drama. I can put this in a screenplay. It'll be perfect. I can channel my drama because you gotta have conflict and stuff, and so that's in there. Was that the right answer? What were you looking for?
There's no right answer. This is, the
first time we had silence in the podcast, and I was just like, oh no.
Because I'm very intrigued by this.
Processing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great word.
Buffering.
Like I said, I've always been spoiled in LA. We're kind of like in a bubble where, we're all out and proud and all this. And the level of art that is created from not the best coming out stories is so powerful. And so that's why I think your art is very powerful. Okay, can we shift gears a little bit?
Gears shifting. Done.
Okay, some questions from fans of Sci-Fi in general.
Oh, of Sci-Fi. Never mind.
And some of your fans too. Are superhero movies considered sci-fi?
That is an interesting question. I think Marvel movies are more closely aligned with sci-fi than any other genre. I don't know that I can say the same thing for the DC canon because I feel like DC is
very
more
God-centric. Very,
especially the newer, the Zack Snyder stuff. It's all very religious.
Yes, and I know there's Thor in the. I'm a super geek, so.
But even Thor, when they brought him into the MCU, they had to drop that line of being like, "Well, magic is just science we don't understand," because the rest of the MCU movies are sci-fi.
Absolutely, but every member of the Justice League is
some kind of titan,
humanity, and
So, do you think Marvel and DC movies negatively affect hardcore sci-fi?
How dare you?
Negatively, may I ask for an elaboration?
Well, okay, because I'm going to agree with this comment because I'm not a fan of Marvel or DC movies because they're so overblown, they're so overly budgeted, so overly marketed. Like
I don't think you can group them together though.
You can. If you
okay,
want.
how about superhero?
I mean, you can, but
no,
I just don't think it's fair.
Wow.
But we're talking about superheroes.
The drama.
So let's say superheroes.
Yes.
So my idea is that we have all these big budget movies, and they're all very like frothy, very whatever. It does not have the same energy or the same intent as a Star Wars or as a Star Trek.
But do you think that's harming sci-fi? Do you think that sci-fi isn't seeing that and being like, okay, we'll do our own thing?
Look at the Comic-Cons. Look at what Comic-Cons are focusing on. Look at what the costumes are doing. And the stories are like, I have to be Captain America rather than I can be Luke Skywalker from nothing.
But the Comic-Cons and the WonderCons and all of the big cons are all such like, well, we gotta be top tier nerd. If you're looking for something specific, you go to a specific convention. If you want like, oh, I want Doctor Who stuff, you go to Gallifrey 1. Like you just zero in. And that's honestly, I like smaller stuff. I've never actually been to big boy Comic-Con. I've only ever been to like the littler, more specific conventions because that's where you find your people. That's where you're finding the people that are like, yeah, I care the most in the world about this. This is my jam, and not like I gotta see everything. I gotta know what's hot. I gotta know what's gonna be big and happening. And I'm just like, well, just do what you like.
But what I think is like it's a superhero environment. A lot of people are lumping sci-fi with that. And what we know from the Star Wars and Star Trek genre is you can be an ordinary person that becomes something. And it doesn't matter who you are, who your family is, whatever. The characters in Marvel or whatever have a very specific...
No, they can still
whether
be...
it's money or whether it's like...
Interesting that you bring
supernaturals that happen to them.
Yeah, but again, the something supernatural happens angle, like you take like Peter Parker in Spider-Man or Miles Morales, who is better. I'm dropping some hot takes. I hope I don't get yelled at on the internet.
I love this.
But you coming from humble beginnings is what makes the good superhero stuff good. Like it is the sci-fi you can come from anywhere angle, at least when that's applied, is also applied in superhero stuff. And when it is done, I prefer it. Honestly, Spider-Man is one of my favorite superheroes if I had to pick.
I mean, but don't forget that say the mythos of like a Marvel mythos comes from decades and decades and decades and decades and decades of history and story.
And it is absolutely its own genre.
Wait a minute.
I won't say
do
that.
not think I did not do my
in a
research.
few movies.
Of all people, I didn't do any research, actually. I'm impressed.
But if you read my Metrosource magazine, where we cover Javicia, from who's the new Batwoman,
yeah,
I did all of the history of LGBT in the comics. I also I had to do research on the evolution of Batman and all of the other.
Mm-hmm.
It was so far removed from the Star Wars and Star Trek land that it was...
Well, it is definitely its own genre. And So I want to revise what I said earlier.
Okay.
I don't think that superheroes are sci-fi. I think they take their greatest inspiration, especially Marvel, from sci-fi. I think they are different genres.
Let me form my question better then. Yeah. This was on me. Somebody that expects this grandiose, huge, like Avenger movie, and then goes to see a new Star Wars movie or a sci-fi movie, an independent sci-fi movie. There's a lot of independent sci-fi movies that are not subscribing to any of these big franchises that are great, but people are expecting this kind of overblown story, and then they have to get involved with not an action scene every 4 frames.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean if it negatively affects that.
I haven't seen... Because honestly, I don't know if it negatively affects the art that is coming out. I haven't seen it. Because all the recent sci-fi... And again, I lean a little bit more into like sci-fi horror. Yeah. And if I'm going indie, like Invisible Man was incredible. Arguably a sci-fi film, but definitely a horror film.
I think it became a sci-fi film in the last whatever. And plus, Elizabeth Moss, we've seen her cry a million times.
I'll see her cry a million more times.
No, they need to cast somebody else because it was like, oh, it's Handmaid's Tale, but we can't see Aunt Lydia. Okay. I was making a joke anyway.
That's fine. It's fine.
Joking in a room of sci-fi
Well, I think
people?
the superhero movies are, like Marvel and DC, are rooted in humanity on Earth, right? Where science fiction, there's no mention of Earth in Star Wars.
But
there's
here's
a
the
vague
thing.
mention of Earth in Star Trek. So
there's
maybe
a vague. The
that's
whole Federation is from San Francisco. We brought the whales back. Anyway.
I'm going to say something mildly
Not
controversial.
until they made a movie.
Yes.
We're doing a lot of nitpicking about genres. We're doing a lot of nitpicking about what counts as sci-fi? What counts as superhero? I'm going to say something, and it's my hot take, and I will die on this hill. Genres are fake. Genres are a marketing tool. No movie has ever been in a genre. Movies are put in genres by people who want to sell them. If you want to see a movie, just watch the movie.
Like you said earlier.
Exactly. They're like and the way you have to speak in order to sell films in this industry is always like, it's this meets this. It's these two things you've already seen before. And some movies are written from the ground up like that, but a lot of the times it's retroactively being like, oh, well, I read your script and it's fine, but it's really like it's Little Shop of Horrors meets... I'm trying to think of another thing that is diametrically opposed to Little
Blade
Shop of
Runner.
Horrors. It's Little Shop of Horrors meets Blade Runner, and they're just like, yeah, of course it is. Here it is.
And
I love
everything's
it.
pitted against each other. Like
Yeah.
everything in our society, one thing has to be better than you can't just.
And you can't just enjoy things. I
One
like
thing has to
enjoying
be better
things.
than the other.
I like
But here's the thing,
weird
but we have to still consider
nonsense.
Hollywood is still a business.
Yeah, of
so
course it is.
an executive producer, like you said, has no artistic whatever, needs to know how to sell the film. They know how to cut the trailer. They need to know that superhero films are hot right now. So let's make Captain Kirk a superhero that's so supernatural. You know what I mean?
But isn't he a superhero?
No, he's not. He's an ordinary person.
Is he ordinary?
Okay.
Captain Kirk is an interesting example because if
He's
you're
such-
going to pick a
you guys-
sci-fi person who is not an underdog,
so can we just agree that we need a whole episode just about sci-fi?
I'll come back
Because we
I'll
were
do
talking
it.
about your art.
I would love. Are we going to talk more about art, or are we going to talk more about sci-fi?
Okay, well, let's do this because we are going to do a hot topic. Our hot topic is Star Trek versus Star Wars, by the way.
Star Trek versus Star Wars. Okay.
Okay, but before we do that,
I abstain.
No, don't abstain. I want you on my team. I want to bully him.
We're going to do this. But let's just agree that why don't we do a sci-fi panel with more experts than us.
Yes, please.
No, but we still, because we're the ordinary person that's buying that ticket.
Yes.
We're going to the...
I would love to be on a
Comic-Cons or
panel
whatever.
with somebody who works in sci-fi
Yeah,
proper
me too.
and has
Me too.
done a lot of films in sci-fi.
Okay, so this is for you personally. Some find it. Some people find it hard to date artists. I know that you have a devoted boo. Why do you think dating an artist can be difficult, and how do you guys work through that?
That's so interesting. I've never actually heard it's so hard to date an artist. I mean, I've seen like media.
If you're a competing artist, it is.
I've seen media
For the other
about how
artists.
hard it is to be an artist. Like I've seen Sunday in the Park with George. I've seen like all of that where it's like, oh my gosh, the tragic lifestyle of a person who's so dedicated to their art that they can't be a good partner. And I'm just like, no. But here's the thing. It's not hard to date an artist. It's hard to date a person without boundaries on their job. Like you can do
But if
both.
you're success,
True.
if you have to work and work and work for you to be a success,
I mean,
and Sunday in the
make the
Park with
time.
George is one of my favorite
What's your
musicals.
measure
I
of
love it.
success?
and
It's providing for the relationship.
But you can provide for the relationship and not work yourself to the bone to the point where you can't be a participant in the relationship. This is the thing that I learned over quarantine, actually, is
So
the
I
boundaries.
want to hear this. Oh.
Oh, no, there's nothing else.
I learned Mandarin.
Really?
No,
Did you
not
really?
really.
Oh, I was going to be so impressed with you. Not that I haven't been already.
Thank you.
Okay, this is more personal too.
Sure.
Besides the technical, do you feel that your craft or approach to art has changed over COVID?
Well, I'm sure it has, but I don't know necessarily that I could articulate how. I think my approach to it is a lot more like collaborative. Like which is interesting
And it's very hard because
Yeah.
I hate
It
being
is
collaborative.
more difficult. I was raised very much as like a jack of all trades, whereas like very socially awkward. I was never like I'm gonna connect. I'm gonna make connections. I'm gonna make a bunch of friends as a kid. I was
Making a
always like
connection. That's a line
exactly.
from Sunday in the Park.
It is.
Yep.
I forgot what we were talking about.
No, how you've changed, like how you're.
Yes. My memory, it just comes and goes. But
Most geniuses are. It's like talking to this.
See, here's the thing: if you do art and you have like weird mental health problems, you can be like, I'm eccentric. I don't have a very good memory, but I create things, so it's fine. I'm an eccentric artist, and not like oh wow, you're kind of rude. You didn't remember that person's name that one time. We were talking about creative processes. I have become a lot more collaborative during quarantine, especially just as sort of a way to like connect with people, being like, hi, I want excuses to keep like friends in my life that I wouldn't necessarily see. I have reached out to a lot of people being like, hi, do you want to collaborate on like a screenplay? Do you want to do an art project together?
I've even emailed you as like, I think you should collaborate with this person.
Yes, exactly. Speaking of collaborations, I see that you have a Fan Daddies fan.
I do.
Well,
is
it's
a friend of mine.
If I can't talk about it yet, it's already too late. I'm doing collaboration with Fan Daddies. We're going to be doing some gay space.
Hold on, let me
fans.
clack it properly for.
Clack it properly. Yes.
We know Fan
Music
Daddies is a
to
huge
my
fan of the
ears.
show.
I'm very, very excited. It's not going to be releasing until later this month, but it's going to be really, really exciting, and you should check it out.
I submitted 2 phrases. I hope one of them is picked.
Which phrases did you pick?
I hate to be 10
Feed me.
forward. Is that not going to be a fan? If it's not going to be a fan, then I'm
So
not playing.
I was told when I had a meeting.
But isn't that funny?
It's
Hate to
very
be 10
funny.
forward.
I love it. I absolutely love it. We had a meeting about the fans and like what makes a good fan, what art really works for this, and it's all just like the shorter the phrase the better. So that's the only reason I would veto that, because it's too many words, like 2 words, 3 words tops.
I can make it work. Okay.
Make it work.
We have to let Kurt go home to his wife.
Oh no!
Because she's like, you're still working on that show? 3 more weeks, girl. Come on, Stacey. Okay, we're gonna do this hot topic real fast.
Hot topic. Hot topic.
It's time for Hot Topics on the Rocks with Alexander. Better pour yourself another.
This is hot. That's hot. That's hot. This is really hot. That's hot. That's hot.
Oh my god, that was really hot.
So hot, you guys.
hot.
All right,
It's
here's the hot
hot here.
topic. Star Trek versus Star Wars. Who wants to go first?
I mean, I'll go first.
Go ahead.
As
the youngin' here.
As the youngin', I am a Star Wars fan. I really like Star Wars. I will never argue that Star Wars is good. I think.
So you just did my debate point.
Yes. No.
I don't
Here's
have to
the thing. Star Wars versus Star Trek, and I'm just leading by being a contrarian, is like, so you're going to make us pick between billion-dollar franchises? We're going to do the advertising of, like...
The energies, the technology, the environment are two totally different things.
They are two totally different things, but they also don't need our help. Like, if we're going to be having a which sci-fi is the best, we should be, like, plugging independent things. But the case that I'll make for Star Wars is it is very much my jam. Like, I will not speak for anyone else. I will not claim that it is inherently artistically better than Star Trek.
So let's set the bar then.
Yeah.
This is what the debate is the quality of sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're going to talk about then.
Well, here's the thing. Star Wars is sci-fi in name only because it's a Western and a samurai film and a fantasy, and it's only sci-fi because there's spaceships. So I don't think it's better at being... I'm arguing against my own point. Can you help me out? Can you help me?
No, you're actually helping me. It's like...
I think it's apples and oranges.
It's not sci-fi. If we're talking about sci-fi, we're talking about...
It's such a strange debate to have because they're so different and they appeal to such different tastes.
And which one did you connect with which one did you experience first? I think that is the root of how everybody feels so passionately about one or the other.
And
which one hit you first?
Goodness. I did definitely connect with Star Wars first. And I love the OG Star Trek, but I want to explain a little bit about the reasons I like these franchises. Is I like puppets, and I like camp.
Your dogs are named after Muppets.
Our dogs are named after Muppets. It's true.
Fozzie and Gonzo.
Fozzie and Gonzo. They're very cute. Oh my gosh, they're
both boyfriend, so come down.
They're both.
Oh wow.
They're both rescues, but they're both like kind of Chihuahua mixes, so they're little.
That's a Muppet, literally.
And they're just they're just puppets, and it's so funny. I love Muppets and I love camp, and Star Wars has both of those, and Star Trek only sometimes has puppets. And the original Star Trek has camp out the wazoo, and I love it. The episode where they all do like space drugs and George Takei is shirtless, oiled up, and wielding a sword. I was like, this is my jam. I love this. But Next Generation was so esoteric, and it was so like, oh, we're going to be intellectual about, and that's always the Star Trek that's recommended to me, being like, oh no, it really gets good when it's Next Generation.
I'm going to tell you, it doesn't get good until Star Trek 2.
Okay.
And then it talks about devotion. It talks about history. It talks about family and space. And then it talks about actual science. It's Star Trek 2 through 6.
Okay. Not Star Trek 1, though. Not the first movie.
I love it so much as a real fan. I wouldn't say...
As a real fan. Ooh, we're qualifying.
No, because, you know...
Gatekeeping and girl bossing.
Here's the thing about Star Wars, and that's what I'm going to say. When you rewatch Star Wars, the first Star Wars that hit in 1977, it's kind of boring.
Because
it's lifeless and a little dry.
It is a slow burn. I'll give you that.
Right.
But Alien is also a slow burn, and Alien is
Alien
incredible.
has a lot more going for it. Alien
Not until
is a
like
horror
halfway
film
through the
to me.
movie.
Alien is a horror film from the start to finish. I would not consider Alien sci-fi
But this
until
is your adult opinion of
Prometheus.
the two.
You're exactly right.
Hold on. So now I'm going to give my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I saw Star Wars in the theater when I was like 7 years old.
Yes.
And my experience with Star Trek before that wasn't that I disliked it, but I saw
It was in syndication.
I
It was
saw in
the sets
syndication.
that moved
And what
and
did
all
I
of
saw?
that.
What I saw was that at 7, it was like, oh, this is very. And I didn't even know what
But you were
camp
too young
was.
to talk
but
about
it was
no,
not
but
the
we also have
friendships
to
that
talk
were
about
so
happening
because
at that
it was
time.
something so different. So it's about what strikes you and at the time, and to compare something in retrospect.
And also, and George Lucas has gone on the record being like, Star Wars is for children. It's about space wizards with laser swords.
Fuck George Lucas.
I mean,
Yeah, but
he has enough money. I could. No, but the Star Wars definitely skews younger, and therefore nostalgia is really easier to bake in. Because Star Wars is a little bit more simple, it's not really as concerned with like, oh, we're doing hard science and we're doing philosophy, things that I love.
We don't have to do another episode week after week after week after week. So
Exactly.
the series had to go more in depth. You know, we have 9
The
movies
Star Wars
over the
series is
course
one of the most frothy, and then we saw the prequels, and then we saw the afterquels, the most frothy, not in depth.
I love
my
that.
thing.
I'm stealing it. I love it.
It's so frothy and so I'm just saying.
I only
I'm
truly
just
love the
saying.
first 3, so yeah, this is a whole.
But
I love the
let's
first
say-
3. I actually really like the sequels. I enjoyed the
You
last
loved it for
one.
nostalgia. I'm telling you, it's kind of the same.
Well, but also here's the thing. I also really, really loved Cats, the movie, because
I've not
I
seen
love
it yet.
I'm sorry.
I love a big,
thought-
expensive mess. And the last Star Wars movie that has come
just
out
said
at time
expensive
of
mess.
time of recording was a big, expensive mess. And I loved Rise of Skywalker. No, I didn't love Rise of Skywalker. What am I saying? I loved Force Awakens and I loved Last Jedi. I think they're really good films.
So let's say we were to capsulate what sci-fi should be in a time capsule, and we're going to leave it, and we can only put one history of film. Is it Star Trek? Is it Star Wars?
Neither.
It's Moon. Have y'all seen Moon?
I've seen many people's moons, but I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm going to go with that just because it's neither.
No, I'm talking about like Star Trek has a legacy and it has emotion behind it.
I
and
think
it
if
has
you're
science
not
behind
if you're
it.
not including
Science.
both in the time capsule, then you're missing the range
You
of
only have-
sci-fi
this
because
is-
they
it's
exist at
theoretic-
opposite ends
you
of
can
the
only
spectrum.
put one. And what is the definition of science fiction? Is science and fiction.
Okay, I'll
Also, we're
agree
talking
with
about
that, but I think they'll be missing out on
human
Star
rights.
Wars. You're
First
absolutely right.
Black woman in power, the first female captain we've ever seen, first interracial kiss, first gay characters, whatever.
Absolutely. Really, first gay characters? I thought Spock and Kirk weren't canon.
They're not gay. My God. No. All right. Well, you heard it here. That's the hot topic. I guess I won, hands down.
I mean, I'm proud of you.
Oh, wait a minute. Kurt, before we end the hot topic, Kurt, our engineer, who's leaving us in a few weeks, by the way, is the ultimate Star Wars. I would like your take on this.
Well, so you keep preferring me as a Star Wars character. Yes, I do own a lot of Star Wars merchandise and
Hello, his kinky
movies
play, Yoda is there.
and I have a lightsaber and a robe, but I actually really do like Star Trek is the thing. Deep down, I wish that Star Trek could get the same kind of financing backing that Star Wars has.
What is it
other
about
than the
Star Wars,
reboot.
though, that you would love to bring to Star Trek?
Star Wars to Star Trek? Because the thing about Star Trek is it's not supposed to be all actiony. It's just supposed to be,
But it does have action, but
Yeah,
it comes from a real place.
Yeah, I like the psychological thing that it makes you think. That's the thing I like about Star Trek is that I get to
more than makes you think, it makes you feel.
Yeah, exactly. Like the episodes with I like Patrick Stewart, of course, is my Captain Picard is my guy. Exactly. So
He's not my favorite captain, by the way. But.
Well, we beg to differ then on that one because
we're begging, we're differing.
Yes, exactly. So, but like I just like some of my favorite episodes of Star Trek are the ones with Q, and it's always just kind of weird and crazy.
Makes you think. Like
yeah,
you said.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So I liked Star Trek because of the thinking. I watch Star Wars because I don't have to think.
I could tell the way her
Wait a minute.
lips are pursed.
Can I quote that?
Yes.
She thinks she won.
Well, I think quite a lot during Star Wars. I really enjoyed. We were talking about the things that Star Trek can get from Star Wars. I think in the other direction, especially because Star Wars is becoming more like television centric. What with Disney Plus, I had very little of this drink, and I'm suddenly stuttering so much. It's
Don't even worry about
unacceptable.
it, girl. Come on.
Okay, so what we're doing when we're televising Star Wars is we're making it a little bit smaller, and we're making it a little bit more like for television you have to be more dialogue heavy because you can't afford quite as many spectacle moments, and I think we'll probably be seeing a lot more of the in-betweens in the future.
I think we're diluting sci-fi with all of these spin-offs.
Okay.
Mandalorian, fun show to watch, and Baby Yoda caused a sensation.
Naturally.
Is it quality storytelling to the Star Wars genre?
I think so.
At the same time,
it
Star
goes
Trek
back.
is having all these spin-offs too.
Mm-hmm.
Am I a fan of all of them? No.
Oh, okay.
Does it dilute the product?
So hold on. We've been doing a lot of qualifying. Well, not every Star Wars is good, but which Star Treks do you think are not good? And why don't you think that counts in the debate of which one is better?
Oh, no, it still is 100 times better than The Mandalorian. We're like, Baby Yoda, Baby Yoda. It's marketing in my mind. It's the same characters. It's nothing new with the spin-offs. The Star Trek spin-offs are great. They're really pushing the envelope. Mm-hmm. And for me as a diehard original cast fan, is hard. That's where I'm coming from. It's still
Apples and
quality.
oranges.
No. So we are going to do...
Eat your apple.
We're going to do a sci-fi
I'll
panel.
eat my orange.
Kurt, I'm so sorry.
I'll
but,
peel it for you.
But I think you.
How did this
you
turn
quoted
into an
that.
innuendo? What happened?
Timo, where can people find
Wine.
and follow you?
You can follow me at Timo Makes Films on Instagram. I'm going to be posting new art every day until the end of June that specifically was commissioned and donated to the Save Precinct Foundation. In my bio on my Instagram, you can find a link to the GoFundMe that they are running if you want to support.
Michael Vega. No
Hi.
stranger to On the Rocks. Where can people find and follow you?
Michael Vega acts on everything. And like late June, I just shot a short film for a music video. The label drops it late June, and I'll show you then. And why am I looking up?
I don't know. It's like you're looking at
I don't know. I'm looking at
You're looking at the
Things
Enterprise.
are
Slowly
Jesus!
coming alive. You guys, that's it. That's a grab bag of fun every weekend on The Rocks. A big thank you to our fabulous guests, my engineer, Kurt, and your pun, and your Star Wars input. Guest co-host Michael Vega, our intern Alexis Mendez, our researcher Mama Rose, by the way, who almost quit because she couldn't find out anything on you and Timo.
Oh, no.
Coming up for Pride Month, we have model and recording artist Lyle Anthony, club and nightlife King Mario Diaz, and Miss Sherry Vine. Please like and subscribe to the show. We provide this to you every week for free. Just leave a little comment. Stay sexy, stay healthy. We'll see you next week.
This has been another episode of On the Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at On the Rocks On Air. Find everything On the Rocks for free at OnTheRocksRadioshow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.